Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. Okay, so on this channel I'll be posting much about mathematics. So if you have any question, you have anything that you want me to teach about, you can just comment it in the comment section and I'll get back to you as soon as possible. Okay, so to begin our lesson today, we'll look at index notation. We want to try and understand what index notation is and how we can be solving questions that pertain to index notation. Okay, so to dive deep into our lesson today, we'll try to understand what index notation is. So to start, we need to understand what is index notation. So index notation is the shorter way of writing a number that is being multiplied to itself. Okay, so if you are multiplying a number to itself so many times, now the easiest way or the simplest way or the shorter way of writing that number, it is what we are calling the index notation. Let's look at an example. Okay, let's say you're multiplying a 2 to itself, 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. Okay, you're multiplying a 2 to itself. Now the shorter way, or let me say another way on how you can write this. Now the shorter way, it's what we are referring as the index notation. So in this case, we can easily just count how many 2's we have here. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So instead of writing it this way, we can just say 2 to the power what? 2 to the power 6. And that will definitely give us the answer that we want, because instead of writing this longer kind of expansion, or writing it in expanded form, we can just write it as 2 to the power 6. It's the same way. Okay, but then we don't know what this is, and we don't know what basically this is. So that's where we're going to start from. We need to understand the number that is always down and the number that is up here. So those are some of the concepts that I'll start by explaining, so that as we dive deep into this lesson, we might try and understand these concepts even from an advanced point of view. Okay, so let's try to understand this. Okay, so to begin our lesson, or rather to understand that, I'll write a number. Let's say I have 4 to the power 3. Okay, so 4 raised to the exponent or index of 3. So we need to understand what is this 4, what is this 3. So this 3 here is what we are calling the index. Okay, but some will call it the exponent. Okay, sometimes it can be called the exponent, sometimes it can be called the index. Then this number here, it's called the base. Okay, so this is basically called the base. So we have the base and the index, or rather the exponent if you want. So if we combine these two together, we can call this as the power. Okay, so together these are called a power. Okay, so when you combine the base together with the index, they form what is known as the power. So now let's understand what an index is and what a base is. Okay, so an index, or let me start with the base. A base is basically a number that you multiply to itself so many times. Okay, so the number that you multiply to itself so many times is what we are calling the base. Okay, it doesn't matter how many times you are multiplying to itself. You might be multiplying 4 to itself 3 times, 4 times, even 5 times. So the number that is being multiplied to itself is called the base. Then we have the number here, the index. So the index is basically the number of times a base is being multiplied to itself. Okay, so you need to get the distinction there. So we are saying the index is the number of times a base is being multiplied to itself. So now we understand what this is and what that is. Let's try to look at an example. Okay, let's try to look at an example. Okay, so we can try to expand. So the first example we're going to look at, let me just write the example. Okay, so the first example we're going to look at, so examples. I would say write the following. in expanded. Okay, write the following in expanded form. Okay, so what we would want to write in expanded form, we can have a. Okay, so part a can have maybe, let's say, 2 to the power 5. Part b, we can have a. Okay, we can have a raised to the power of maybe, let's say, 9. Okay, a raised to the power 9. And then c, we can have x, y raised to the power of 4. Okay, so we are trying to understand how we can easily expand these. Okay, so we are trying to write these. So these are already in index form. Now what we want to do is to write this in expanded form. So how do you write this in expanded form? So what you do basically, because 2 is being multiplied to itself 5 times, so we're going to say 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. So we have the last 2 there. Okay, so we have expanded because what you have just demonstrated is basically this base has been multiplied to itself 5 times, which is the index that we have there. Okay, so that is basically how you do that one. And then for b, you do the same. So we are going to have a multiplied by a, 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 multiplied by a. I mean, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we have 8. And the last one, 9. So when you look at this variable a, it's been multiplied to itself to the exponent number 9. Okay, so we are multiplying a to itself 9 times. So that's how you expand this. Then when we come to the last part, I would want you to pause the video and just try and see how you can actually expand the last part. Okay, because we have 2 variables that have been multiplied to themselves. Okay, so I'm thinking maybe you tried. So how you go about solving this one, because this is a product, so nothing will change. We'll just have we'll actually have x y multiplied to x y multiplied to x y multiplied to x y. So that is what you're going to have. Okay, that is what you're going to have, because this is a product. You are going to multiply it just like that. So if you were asked to identify the base in this question, the base is basically xy. Okay, and what is the exponent or index? It is basically the 4 here. So we are multiplying xy to itself 4 times. Okay, so that is basically about expanding. Okay, so we started by looking at on how we can identify the index, or which one is the index and which one is the base. And we have gone a step further and looked at how we can expand something being given a question in index form. How do we go about expanding it? And we have just seen, we have witnessed how we can expand. So the next thing that we would want to do is to basically, how can we evaluate, or how can we find the value of? Because there are times when you'll be asked to find the value of 2 to the power 5, okay, or 2 raised to the index 5. What will you do? After expanding, then you do what? Because you want to find the final answer, and that's what we are going to do next. Okay, so let's do that quickly, and we're going to use that is going to be our example 2. Okay, we're going to do that as example 2. Let's see how we can actually find the value of, okay, given an equation. Okay, so we'll start by looking at this simple one. So we have, so this is question number, actually this should be question number 2. So find the value of, okay, find the value of, we might have, or we should have a here. Our a will be 3 raised to the power of 4. Okay, then we can have maybe b will have let's say 5 to the power 3. C, we can have something like let's say 5 to the power 3 minus 3 to the power 4. No, let's just reduce this one a bit. Maybe we can say 3 to the power 2. Okay, maybe that way. and then I needed to have D. Anyway, I'll write it afterwards so that you can see how we can actually go about finding the value of. So when you're asked to find the value of or to evaluate, it means we need to find the actual value for this kind of an expression, okay? Because we know that 3 is being multiplied to itself 4 times, okay? So what is the answer that we are going to get if we multiply 3 to itself 4 times, okay? So the first thing that we want to do is to expand this. So we're going to have 3 times 3 times 3 times 3, okay? So we have that. So how we can actually achieve this? Okay, we can just go direct and say 3 times 3 we get 9, 9 times 3, that number times 3, and then we get the answer there. Or we can petition this by saying 3 times 3 we get 9, so 9 will be multiplied by 3 times 3, we get 9. Okay, so you can see that that is very easy than just going direct like that, because you might make a mistake somewhere. Okay, so if we say 3 times 3 will give us 9, 3 times 3 will give us 9. So what is 9 times 9? And that will definitely give us 80 what? 81. Okay, so that's how you do it there. Then we can go to the next question. So the next question here we have 5 to the power 3. Okay, so how do you go about solving 5 to the power 3? You do the same again. You are going to expand, or rather you are going to write this in expanded form. That's just something that we started with. Okay, we started by writing a question that is given in the index form, and then we need to write it in expanded form. So what we need to do for this one is to expand first, like we did for the first one. So we are going to have 5 multiplied to 5 multiplied by 5. So once we have that, it's very easy again to do the tricky that we used. You can multiply these two, you will get 25, all right, a small 25 here, multiplied by what? By 5. So what is 25 multiplied by 5? Okay, you can just pause the video and try and find the answer, okay? You can find the answer. And don't cheat, don't use a calculator. You can use your skill, rather just solving using your pen. Huh? Don't use a calculator. This is a very simple multiplication, or multiplication actually. Okay, so now that I know that you have gotten the answer, if we multiply 25, sorry, times 5, we'll have 25 times 2 is 50, times 3 75, times 4 we get 100, then times 5 we get 125. So we are going to have 125 there. Okay, so that is the answer you're going to get there. You're going to get 125. But then we have this question on part C that we need to solve. We have this part here, minus 3 raised to the exponent 2. How do we go about solving this kind of equation? So sometimes you have a plus here, sometimes you have a minus like we have. Okay, so it's very important that we get to understand how to go about doing this. So there's nothing that is confusing here, only that you need to evaluate this on its own, minus you evaluate this on its own. So in short, you are going to subtract the product you are going to get here minus the product you are going to get here. Okay, so now to do this, for 5 raised to the exponent 3, we did that one, and this is the one that we are just from doing the previous question, and you can see the answer is 125. So we can write our 125. This should be, we should subtract by 3 raised to the exponent 2 is just 3 times 3, and we'll get what? We'll get 9. So we'll have 9 there. So what is the answer that we are going to get there? 125 minus 9. What is the answer that we are going to get? So easily we can just subtract. So we have 20 minus 4 will get 16. So the answer we're going to have here is 116. Okay, so far so good. Now we are able to find the value of. Now let's try to think a bit here. Okay, let's try to think a bit. Okay, thinking here. Let's try to think. In a case where you're given a question, and this question is something like maybe they tell you, say, evaluate 100 to the power 0. Okay, what do you think is going to be the answer there? Okay, so 100 there has been raised to the exponent, or rather to the index 0. What do you think is what do you think the answer is going to be? So you can just pause the video and try to think about it. Okay, so now any number raised to the power of 0, it will give you 1. Okay, it doesn't matter whether they write a variable like a to the power 0, it will still give you 1. So in short, from the general perspective, we are saying any number raised to the power of 0, the answer will be 1. And so in this case, the answer will just be 1. Okay, just thought of mentioning that. It's very important that we get to know that. Okay, with that said, now I can give an exercise to the viewers. Okay, so I'll give an exercise and you can just solve and write the answer in the comment section, and I'll be able to check it out. Okay, so let me give out the exercise. Okay, so let me give out the exercise. So the exercise will be find the value of okay, so part A, I would want you to find this question here. So you have 3 to the power 0 plus 3 to the power 1 plus 3 to the power 3. Okay, and then all these raised to the power of 0. Okay, so I want you to find this one, find the value there. Then on part B, I would want you to find 10 raised to the power of 0 minus 3 to the power 3. Okay, so once you are done with this question, you can comment the answers in the comment section, and I'll be able to review your answer and give feedback. Thank you very much for watching, and don't forget to subscribe. Invite more people so that this channel can grow, and once it grows, you'll be able to be notified when there's a video that I post, because I will be posting regularly on the topics that people will be commenting that they're facing challenges in, to just try and help out, so that you might have that confidence to handle mathematical questions that can be thrown at you at any time. Bye bye.